Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a great day. I want to try to create this as more of a podcast for people that are driving to work and want to listen to something about their vehicles as they're driving. So we're going to have two types of podcasts. One will be more for the consumer. The other one's going to be for the guy in the garage that's trying to learn how to do stuff, or somebody, you're already a mechanic and you're just trying to learn some tricks of the trade. I've been doing this for 40 years, so let's get going with it. I'm your host today. Go big. So first of all, just to get things started, it's fall. Fall's coming. It's hot right now, but fall's going to happen really fast. So be prepared. A lot of you guys are going to watch this on the rerun, not the live. It'll probably be more of the when it gets loaded as a video. So if you do see this as loaded as a video, if you have questions or comments, please drop them in the comments. We'll answer your question the following week. We are offering a membership now. It's less than a cup of coffee. So, you get a membership, you get free educational and free access to membership only videos. Okay, so here we go. I want to talk about a little product that I just learned about in the last year or so. And I used to, be the guy who used to carry that washer bottle around in the back seat all the time and topping off my washer fluid. And I'm working for this place, and they started using this product. I'm really happy with it. It's really convenient. So they have washer fluid tablets now that you just take the tablet, you drop it in the bottle, you add water, and you got washer fluid. It's really convenient. You can actually just drop the tablet in your washer container under the hood, fill it with water, you got washer fluid. So I'll leave some links in the description for that stuff. Why is it so important? So you don't really think washer fluid is really that important until you have something get on your windshield going down the freeway at 50 miles an hour. Because it can happen, like something comes out of the back of somebody's vehicle, can of paint, oil, a big mud puddle, and you get a big old splash across the windshield going 60. It's nice to know that you have good wiper blades and you have washer fluid in that bottle. So keep that on your checklist of things to do during the winter. And if you would, would you just, if you join this, would you just drop a comment where you're from? And also, I want to make a checklist for everyone to where maybe you can download it where you have a checklist for wintertime. What should I do to the car? Winter's coming, what should I do to the car? So washer fluid's one of them, and wiper blades. Wiper blades are really important. You should be changing wiper blades out every September. I recommend September. It's right around the time it starts thinking about raining, and so when it starts raining, you want to have those wiper blades on. You don't want to wait until you get a really heavy downpour and you can't see on the freeway and you end up getting in an accident, because it happens. People don't think about their wiper blades until they need them. And so think about that. Think about getting some washer fluid in your bottle. Have the wiper blades changed. Don't wonder, or do I need them? Yes, you need them. Every year you should be putting new wiper blades on your vehicle. I was a manager for a big fleet. I worked for a fleet before. I was a mechanic all the way up into a manager position. So this is one of the things that we always did in our maintenance program. And then tire pressure. Tire pressure is a big one, because I'm probably going to get some response from this, is that TPMS is a throttle position sensor system, which is on your vehicle. And you'll notice in the wintertime that you're going to start getting TPMS lights on. And what that is as the temperature drops, the air pressure in your tires will drop a little bit. If it drops below a certain level, it's going to turn that TPMS light on. And then you'll be going to work, TPMS light comes on, you're thinking, oh man, do I have a low tire? What's going on? So before it gets too cold, just have somebody check and set the tire pressure so you know the tire pressures are correct. Tire pressure should be written on the inside of the door, not on the tire. A lot of people think you check tire pressure based on what's on the tire. You don't. You set tire pressure based on the door pressure setting. So TPMS, that's what that little light is that comes on the dash. And the other one that people forget about is check your spare. You know, some vehicles now, the TPMS system actually is the spare is part of it. So if that spare goes low, it'll turn that light on. And I'll tell you a little trick to get around that. You guys that are putting on aftermarket wheels and stuff, you're tired looking at that PPMS light, I'm going to teach you a trick to turn that light out. A lot of guys will put big old meaty tires on, and they're airing their tires up and down all the time because they're four-wheeling. And what you do is take all the sensors when you change the tires, put regular valve stems in, take all the sensors off of those four tires, have the shop break down the spare, put the sensors inside the spare, and then air it up. Now the sensors think that all the tires are at whatever pressure that spare is at, and it'll stop turning that light on. You can tell them Go Big gave you that idea. Okay. Another one I recommend is your locks. Good time of the year to be lubing your locks. In the wintertime, moisture gets built up in the locks. They start getting stiff. They start getting a little corrosion in there. They need to be lubricated. So you can use WD-40. I recommend, I'm trying to think of the name of the stuff that I use all the time. I don't know why I always have a hard time remembering what it is. I'll get back to you on that. I'll put it in the link. That's what happens when you get old. You forget things that you've known forever. But anyway, what you want to do with the lubricating of the locks, just put the straw in there, give it a little shot on all the locks, and then put a little bit on your key and put the key in the hole, work it back and forth. Tri-Flow is the name of the product, Tri-Flow. And we'll put a link. Tri-Flow is probably one of the best products I've ever used. I've been doing this a long time. And Tri-Flow, if you like to lubricate things like locks and your like your utility boxes on your utility boxes, that kind of stuff, Tri-Flow is the way to go. And I'm telling you these products because these are things that I've used forever and they work. So and you'll be surprised how well your locks work after you do this. You know. You know, it's funny, guys, with all their little comments. This is a hat, just so you know. It looks like it's a thing. Let me wear it sideways. That look better. So anyhow, you'll be surprised how good your locks work after you lubricate them. Most people never lubricate their locks. Get a can of Tri-Flow, one squirt, just push it through where the key goes in, a couple squirts in each one of your locks. The lock for the trunk, spray a little bit on your hood latch, and then take your key that goes in the ignition, run it in there, turn it a couple times in and out. The next day you get in your car, you'll be going, man, this is so nice, because it finally got lubricated. It's something people overlook that should happen. You can also lubricate the hinges when you open a door. You hear a lot of doors when they open, they creak. Hit that with a little lube right there. It'll get rid of that. Rain-X. I've been using Rain-X for over 30 years. I have a motorhome. I don't know about the people out there that have motorhomes. Motorhomes have notoriously bad windshield wipers. Even when you got great wiper blades on them, especially the flat glass motorhomes, you get in a rainstorm in one of those things and you're dependent on those wiper blades, you can't see nothing. I'm not kidding you. Some of the motorhomes, the visibility in a rainstorm is horrendous. But that's what made me start using Rain-X. An instructor, when I was in my 20s at a college when I was learning automotive, he taught me this. And he do this yourself and you'll be a believer. Get some Rain-X and do one side of the windshield. Follow directions on the bottle. Now's the time to do Rain-X, because Rain-X can't be applied when it's cold. You want it, I think it has to be over 75 degrees if I remember right. So just do one side of the windshield and don't do the other side. And get a water hose and spray it on the window. And then take a blower and blow it to make it feel like the wind going down the road. In my motorhome, I'm not kidding you, when I've just done the Rain-X, I can actually turn the wiper blades off and drive without them. It beads the water so fast that it's amazing how well it works. And I do mine on my motorhome every year, because the wiper blades no matter what you do with those blades, they just don't wipe well. So Rain-X is something you should be putting on your checklist. You know, did I Rain-X? And it just doesn't hard. It has a little applicator. You put it on the glass, you let it dry, and then you take a rag and just kind of buff it. It's kind of like a real light wax, but you see through. It doesn't affect the vision through the glass. So a really great product. Rain-X is a really great product. It really is. We're gonna be dropping a video tonight, and I'll tell you a funny story while we're sitting here talking about it. I'm gonna drop a video tonight about how to make a test light with no tools out of hardly nothing. Was camping one time. One of the guys I was camping with, he was taking his trailer back down the hill, and they were going to have to leave early in the morning when it was still dark out in a kind of a dangerous canyon area. And he went to hook everything up, and he said, I got no taillights. And I was there, but I was backpacking, so I didn't have any tools with me. And his fuse panel had about 60, 75 fuses in it. I'm not kidding you. I think it was like 60 fuses in it. And if you've never ever checked fuses before, a lot of people think the way you check a fuse is you pull it out and you look at it, and then maybe you might jumper it with some wires to see, you know, if it works or not, or use an ohm meter. This is how mechanics check fuses, okay? I'll put this battery right here to kind of explain it like this real quick. So this is a really nice test light. But I don't know why, but for some reason, every time I go to a friend's house that has some kind of electrical problem, and these are technicians, they don't have a test light. I've never understood it. How are you a mechanic and you don't have a test light? So anyway, this is a test light, right? It lights like that. So this is how mechanics test fuses. Is they'll ground this lead like this, so when they touch power, it lights up like that. And we'll make a little video of this, but we'll just do this on the live real quick. And you go underneath the panel and you just touch this on. So a fuse has two positions that you can touch that are bare, where you can get onto them with the tip. And when you test a good fuse, both sides will light up. So you test one side, it lights up. You test the other side, it lights up. When you get to one that you test it and it's hot on one side, and then you touch it and it doesn't light, that's a bad fuse. And you can go through a panel like that of 50, 60 fuses, never pull a fuse out. Just work your way down, you know, methodically, up or down or right to left. I was looking to see if I had a fuse laying here on the bench so I could show you. We'll drop a video for that, just to show you. So that's how you test. But the thing is, you gotta have a test light with a tip on it. You can't go just sticking a wire in there. It just doesn't work very well. So I've built test lights before out of light bulbs and all kinds of stuff. But we were out camping. I said, man, let's see what we have here to make a decent test light. Because I was gonna have to get underneath the dash and do some testing. And so we started scrounging around, and this guy, he goes, I just got some pins. And I go, what do you got for pins? And he goes, I got a Sharpie and I got a regular pin. I said, give me that Sharpie. So, and then we scrounged around. I found a nail on the ground. So I said, all I need is a piece of wire and a light bulb, and we got a good test light. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, watch, I'm gonna show you. So I used to make these little lights, and I keep these in my toolbox because test lights are upwards of $50 now. When somebody comes, hey, can I borrow your test light? And I don't loan them my good test light anymore. You know, these Snap-on ones, you know, they could be $50 if you get the nice ones with the LEDs on it and the voltmeter and all that. So you don't want to be loaning that out, not knowing if you're getting back. So I started making these things up, and they're just an alligator clip, a piece of wire. This is a nail. I don't know if you see that around it. It's a galvanized nail. And this right here is a cap off of a Sharpie. And I got some LED lights that I get these for like $2 on Amazon. So I make up a bunch of these. I keep like 10 of them around, just leave them laying everywhere, so I got them. But I'll show you something about an LED test light. LEDs are, they're polarity sensitive. They will only light in one direction. You see how that lights? But if I flip it around, and what that doesn't, it's not good if you want to check a ground, because to check a ground, you hook this on a positive and this goes to the ground. As you can see, the light doesn't light. So LEDs aren't a good one to make if you're gonna be testing a ground, but they're great for checking fuses. You can build this thing for $3, you know, no problem. and it's pretty easy. I'll do a video on it. Anyway, I want to show you the one we did build. I made a replica of it here. So here it is. This is a nail. This is a Sharpie, and then there's wire sticking out the back. And so you just need a length of wire, a nail, and a lighter, a butane lighter. And you can build this. You don't even need a knife. You can build this whole thing with no tools. And right here, I'll pull this off. See, I got this LED on there, but I'm gonna pull this off. You just leave the wires long on the end. And what we ended up doing when we were out there in the field was I stole a 194 light bulb out of the license plate light, because it has a little piece of wire on the end of it. And you can just twist these. And if you're ever out in the field and you have to insulate something, one of the guys that we were with came up with this, and I thought, what a great idea. He says, hey, I got Band-Aids. And I was like, perfect, because we didn't have no tape. I said, so we wrapped this. We did the little twisty, which I don't recommend. That's only in a pinch. We did a little twist, and we wrapped these with Band-Aids. And then I just had somebody hold the end of the wire to ground, and I was able to get up in there, and I was able to test that with a homemade test light that we made out camping. So anyway, I'll make a little video because this is kind of neat. You can make these, and these little things, I'll drop the parts in the, matter of fact, you know what, I'm going to make an offer right now. So we have a membership we started, and what the membership gives you, it gives you DIY projects, and it gives you access to member-only videos where we're going to be doing repairs and stuff. That'll be just for members. And the membership is less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So I'm going to throw that out there. If you're a member, I'll make one of these for you, and you pay the shipping. So if you join our membership, this is going to be part of the membership. You get one of these little LED, and they work good. I mean, you know. And you know what I like about this little test light? Look how small it is. It's only, you know, it's 4 inches long. And sometimes when you're underneath the dash using this big old test light, there's not enough room. You can't get in there. So these little, I keep one of these in my toolbox just because sometimes I need it because it's so small. And then the other thing is, if you lose this, you're working on a trailer or something, and you forget it, and it gets left on the trailer or whatever, it gets ran over, you're out $2. You're out $2. You can make another one tomorrow. It's a piece of wire, a clip, a nail, a top off of a Sharpie, and a $2 LED. So you're like $3 into this thing. So anyway, we're gonna do that as part of that. So, okay, dropping about the video. What can we talk about still about wintertime? Front end alignments. This is a good time to talk about that. What is a front end alignment? You know, just so you understand. So there's 3 adjustments on your tires that keep that tire in alignment so it holds the road well and it doesn't wear the tire. So there's caster, camber, and toe, and we'll make a video. That's the videos I'm talking about. As a member, you're going to be able to learn, not just as a consumer, but you're going to be able to learn as, hey, I'm going to learn how to work on my own stuff. And that's what the membership will do for you. We're going to be dropping videos about how to do brake repair, how to do air conditioning, you know, just for the basic person that knows nothing. If you don't know nothing about automotive, I can teach it. I've been doing this a long time. So anyway, I want to encourage you guys to come back. We're going to be dropping these videos once a week. I got a video all set up on how to actually make this little light. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to drop a video tonight on how to actually make this light. Because this is a light a guy could make in his garage. If you don't have a test light and you need one, go grab a nail, find you a Sharpie and a piece of wire. You're done. You just need a light bulb to put here, wrap it with some tape, you got a test light. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like that kind of stuff that you can do that with. I was going to tell you a story when we first started this about, oh, that was about the camping trip. Anyway, the camping trip, the guy, we got his lights fixed with a test light, and he made it home. And because of that nail and that Sharpie, we were able to do that. And I can show you how to make a really nice one in your garage, if you have access to a file and a soldering gun and that kind of stuff. We can make a really nice one. So anyway, for winter time, front end alignment, it's a good idea before winter hits. If you're having problems with your alignment, in other words, it feels like it wants to pull right or left, or it has a little wear on the outside edge of the tire, now's the time to get the alignment done and have the tires inspected. Tires is a big thing in the winter, you know. You don't want to risk your life on $100 tire. Or, you know, I don't know what tires are now. I know the ones that I bought for my truck were $350 a piece. So, you know, tires are kind of expensive, but tires don't have the longevity that they used to have. The rubber they're made out of now, they just don't last, you know. The rubber deteriorates faster than it used to, so they get a lot of cracks in them and sidewall cracks and stuff. So you want to take a look at those. Especially if you're driving a truck and you're putting a load on it, pulling a trailer or anything like that, especially your trailer tires, you know, take a look at them. Before you go load that thing up, haul something somewhere, you know, go take a look at those tires, put a gauge on them, make sure the pressure is correct, you know. And like I said, tire pressure, a lot of people get this wrong, is a lot of people think that tire pressure is what's on the side of the tire, and I'll explain that to you a little bit. That tire that you're looking at is designed for 20 different vehicles, maybe 100 different vehicles. That tire pressure is the maximum tire pressure that tire can hold under a certain load. It doesn't mean, so if that tire is on a Toyota Corolla with one passenger in it, it doesn't need to have maximum pressure in it. So look on your car. Usually, you know, passenger car tires are anywhere from 32 to 36, somewhere in there. But look at your side. Go look today. Go open your door up. There'll be a little sticker on there. Look around. It'll tell you what the tire pressure should be. It's required by law. So on the side of the door should be the tire pressure, and that's the pressure you use. Don't use the pressure on the tire. The tire is not where you get the pressure reading from to set your tire. And I'll bet you 50% of the people that own vehicles think that's where the tire pressure is from. And we'll talk about tire pressure and checking it too, because it can be dangerous. A lot of people, they get complacent with tires when they're putting air in them. And I've seen them blow up, you know, I've seen them explode. So they can, if you get a gauge that's defective and you think you got 30 pounds in there and you got 80 and you're just pumping away, it'll blow that sidewall out. I had a tire go out, blow up on me at work one time, and I knew I had exactly what was supposed to be in that tire. And luckily I had a really long hose. I was taught to not stand in front of a tire like that, and to keep myself 3 to 4 feet to the side. And I have a gauge at work that has a really long hose on it for that. And I have a tool that I carry on me. It's called a Viator that I keep in my car, and I'll go over that with you guys if you have interest. We'll talk about that on another video. But anyway, tires, pressure. So just to sum things up for today, I didn't talk about antifreeze. Let me talk about antifreeze real quick. Antifreeze, a lot of people don't really understand. They think that if the antifreeze is green and it's full, that it's good. No, that's not true. So antifreeze has a shelf life, and what it does, two things. It lowers it makes it where the water can't freeze at a lower temperature, because water freezes at like 32 degrees. So if you get a 15-degree day and you put I'll tell you a story about that too. If you put straight water in a vehicle and it freezes overnight, it could crack the block. It can crack the water pump. It can destroy your motor. So what happens is when water freezes, it expands. And it's inside that motor, and it just starts expanding. It's just looking for something to break, and it will break stuff, just like a pipe in your house. That's why pipes break in houses, is because they have water in them. So what antifreeze does, it raises the temperature that will freeze at. It allows you to take it into a lower temperature, and it won't freeze. So that's the one thing it does. It's freeze protection. So if you live in an area where it gets really cold, you know, some people live in places where it gets 20 below, you better be checking your antifreeze. You know, I would do it. If I lived somewhere like North Dakota, South Dakota like that, I'd be checking it every year. And the other thing is, it prevents electrolysis. And what is electrolysis? Electrolysis happens when you have two similar metals. And when you put water in a vehicle that has aluminum and steel together, it starts eating things. I've seen diesel motors where guys didn't check their coolant and have big holes in the cylinder where it ate a hole right through the wall of the cylinder. Because diesels are bad for cavitation and it creates like a real problem. So, coolant changes, you can take it to a shop and they can check it with a little meter that tells you what the freeze protection is, but it can also tell you what the ability is to keep your metals from deteriorating. So in general, probably every 5 years you should be draining your coolant and changing it. If you live in cold temperatures, don't mess around. Because I'll tell you a story. I had a 56 Ford pickup. This is a good story for JB Weld. If you don't know what JB Weld is, I don't know a mechanic in this country who doesn't have a tube of that in his toolbox. It's the greatest stuff ever made, and it's cheap. So what JB Weld is, it's a two-part. It's black and white, and you just squeeze it out in a tube and you stir it up, and it causes a chemical reaction. And it's just the most amazing, like glue or something to hold something together, temporary, not a permanent repair. Usually it's just like a temporary repair. But what happened was I was like 20 years old. I didn't know nothing, and I had a 56 Ford pickup, and I filled it with water. I didn't have no antifreeze, and I did a repair, and I just filled it with a water hose. I thought, ain't gonna hurt nothing, Well, where I live, it doesn't get cold very often. Well, sure, my luck. That next night, it got down really cold where it never froze like that in an area like that in a long time. And so the next morning after the freeze, I went out there to do something, and I see water coming out from underneath my truck. And I'm like, oh, what is that? So I opened it up. There was a 6-inch crack in the block where where the water had froze, and it cracked that block. So this is a good sales. JB Weld, if you're listening, you need to be supporting this channel because I'm going to support your product like you have no idea. So anyway, my uncle come over and I said, man, I cracked the block in that old Ford. He goes, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, nope. And it was a straight 6, a little straight 6. I think it was a 292 or something like that. And it cracked. It was a 6-inch crack, and there's water just gushing out of this thing. This is the only truck I had. This was my truck. I was 20 years old, the only vehicle I had. So my uncle, he had been a mechanic for years, and he says, we can fix that. And I'm like, how? He goes, go get me a grinder. So he goes, drain the water out of that thing. So I drained the water out. And he took a grinder, and he just ground right into that crack, a big V, and then cleaned it up real where the metal was exposed. And he took JB Weld and he filled that in with JB Weld and let it sit overnight. And I'm not kidding you, I had that truck for, I'm guessing 5 years after we did that repair, and it was still working. It never leaked. So I fixed a cracked block that was a crack in the cooling passage, on the side. We fixed a cracked block with a tube of JB Weld. Matter of fact, here you go. That's what I'm talking about. I was messing with that test light the other night, and I needed to do something. And there it is, JB Weld Quick. So they have two types. They have JB Weld Standard, which you have to let it settle a little bit overnight, and then they have this JB Weld Quick. This stuff sets up in 6 minutes. And one time I was at work and I stepped on my glasses and broke them in half. And so I just took these. My daughter did the same thing. She did it too. So I just took some JB Weld and I glued my glasses back together. It got me through the day. So if you don't know what this product is, get some. It's amazing what you can do with it. It'll glue just about anything. It'll glue metal to steel, steel to metal, plastic. It don't care. It'll glue your fingers together too. So don't hold them together too long. Anyway, this is a great product. I'll put a link on these. Hey, all these things that I'm telling you about, I'll leave a link on. It just supports our channel. It helps us keep the lights on. So we'll put links in the descriptions for all these products when I come to you and I tell you, and I'm talking to you on these podcasts, and I promote a product, I believe in the product. It's something I've used and I believe in it, and it's been through the test of time with me. I've been doing this for 40 years. So, and you know, you don't want to be doing this on just to be doing it. But if I keep a tube of this in my glove box in all my vehicles, because you never know when you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere. My daughter, she just didn't, because she seen me use this over for years and years, and she got a crack in her radiator in her Toyota, and it was going to be like $400 for the radiator, and she's like, man, we can't afford that right now. So she did. She went out there and cleaned the top where the crack was, and JB welded it, and guess what? He got her by till she was able to afford to get another radiator. So, you know, this is a good product. Try it out. JB Weld Quick. It does a great job. We'll leave links for that stuff. Let me talk a little bit. So I'm gonna start doing some education. One of the things I want to teach people is how to use a test light. You don't have to be a rocket science to learn how to use a test light. It can save you a lot of money. There's no reason to be taking your car to the shop. Let me tell you how this goes in a shop. Let's say your headlights aren't working and the fuse is blown. In a shop situation, you're going to take that into the shop and say, hey, I need to have my car looked at. And I've been a service manager, so I know exactly how it goes. He's going to come in and he's going to say, okay, we'll take a look at it. It's an hour diagnostic time, and then we'll call you with whatever we find. An hour diagnostic time now is $200, okay? Let's say they only charge you a half hour. Okay, we'll charge you a half hour diagnostic time, and then we'll call you. So there's a $100 bill. The mechanic, he's going to get up in there. First thing, he's going to check fuses. And go, boom, there's a bad fuse. Pull the fuse out. Yep, it's bad. Puts a new fuse in. Headlights come on. Guess what? They're going to charge you that $100 diagnosis time, because that's what they charge, minimum, half hour minimum. They're going to charge you for the fuse, and then they're going to charge you to install it. They're going to probably charge you 2/10, which is a quarter of an hour, which, you know, there's another $50. So your bill was $150 to change a fuse, when you could have, if you knew how to use this, you could have done the same thing. Just went underneath there, went like that, go back and forth until one doesn't light, and go, oh, there's the bad one. Change the fuse out, and you just saved yourself $150. So come be a member. We're going to teach people how to do these basic things. And the membership just helps me keep all the equipment up, you know, buy better cameras and all that good stuff, you know. So anyway, we appreciate you being here today. Look for our videos that we're going to drop. We're dropping one tonight. I'm going to drop one tonight, how to build this little test light, because I just think it's such a cool little tool. You can build it right in your garage. You can build it. If you have a nail and a Sharpie and a piece of wire, you'll have a test light in your hand tonight. And like I said, you just need the reason I use those little 194 bulbs, it's a 194, they're usually push-in little bulbs that they use for license plates, is they got a little wire on them. So you can connect them. A lot of bulbs, they got a contact that you have to do something with, solder to or whatever. These, you can actually twist them and wrap a piece of tape on them if you just want to get a basic light going. But like I said, soldering's a better way to go. I'll show you how to build a nice one. These right here, these little ones that I showed you, that little one, sorry, excuse me just a second. I'm gonna do that little one right here. So this little one I built right here, this is actually a good quality little light, because it's soldered. So the wire right here is actually soldered to the top of the nail, so it can't come loose. And then we did it looks kind of ugly. Who could have wrapped that with some tape and made it look nicer? But this is some JB Weld that I put on there to hold that. And man, this thing will probably last 10 years. Go buy a test light. You know, a good quality test light nowadays, if you get a good one, it's $50. So I'm going to teach you how to build a test light for $2. If you join my membership, you can get one of these in the mail. Join the membership, this is coming to you in the mail. You got to pay a shipping though. I'm not rich, I'm just smart. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. If you're in your car driving to work, I hope these are good little tips for you. If you send me your email, I'll send you a checklist for your winter time, how to get prepared for winter. It's and we're going to do a newsletter pretty soon too. That'll be part of the membership, the newsletter. So From Go Big Garage, Go Big says, go big or go home, baby. See ya. I got to remember how to turn this thing off. I always forget how to shut it down.